Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome to episode 2 of A Safe Space for Men. I'm your host, Ron. Before I get started, please remember to like, rate, review, subscribe, and download to the podcast. Please and thank you. I appreciate it. All your feedback helps me, try to get better at this and just provide information that, maybe you want to hear about, or if you feel like, even if I had a misstep, something like that, whatever it is. Just please leave me a rating. I appreciate it. This week has been crazy. It's super hot in Philly, which is why right now, like, I'm actually gonna turn it back on. I have like this really big air conditioner, and yeah, it's coming back on now. I have like this really big air conditioner, and it's kind of loud. Like you can't hear it on the soundboard, but in the video you can hear it. But I tested it out. When I played the video back, you can hear it, but my voice is loud enough to where you can hear it. So I'm probably just going to let the air run because it's really like 100 degrees outside. And before I even started recording, I turned it off maybe like 2 minutes before I hit the record button. And as y'all see, if you watching the video, I got a little bit of sweat in my forehead. So yeah, I turned the ceiling fans off because they was making a lot of noise. I didn't like that in a couple of my other videos. But the air, that's staying on because that thing dumps. But yeah, we're in the middle of a heat wave. It's like 100 degrees. It's crazy outside. This week, we're going to talk about mental health, men's mental health particularly, just because it's something that is near and dear to me. It's important to me. I've experienced it. I've seen people that have been through things related to mental health and stuff like that. I lost friends to suicide. Unfortunately, that's all part of it. So, June was Men's Mental Health Month, and September's coming up. September is Suicide Awareness Month. So, just want to, touch on some topics as it pertains to that, and speak about it. It's crazy because like when you're a kid and someone talks about like mental health, like you make jokes about it in school, like, oh, she's mental or that guy's mental. You always think that the person is crazy, and I think that's probably where like the misconception comes in. It's like really from your kid, because you're trained and taught to believe that a person is crazy if they have mental health issues, and that's really not what it is. I think everyone at some point in their life experienced, or has some type of issue or whatever with mental health, because like we're all out here doing the same shit. We're taking care of kids, we're working, we're grinding, we're trying to provide. We're trying to have free time for ourselves. We're trying to figure out life. You know what I mean? I'm 37, and I tell you even now, I'm just now starting to really figure out life. And every day there's something difficult that goes on in my life every day. So I know if it happens for me, it's definitely happening for the guy next door or my neighbor across the street and whomever. So there's a lot of things I think that go into it. I definitely think your quality of life is really like where it starts, with your kids, your personal time, and work. For me, I can remember back, like, I was as young as like 19 or 20, and I had a job. I was a manager, and, working too many hours. Like, how many hours are you working? I was working like 70, 80 hours a week at a time because there was like no managers there. It was like 3 managers working a store that was open like 18 hours a day, working 6-7 days a week. And while like the money was good and I'm able to provide and give my kids all these things, the most important thing is time with your kids. And eventually that alone, that becomes like a mind fuck. It's like I have all this money, but I'm not able to spend it. And which is what I said to my boss, because I remember going to her, it was like my area manager, and I was like, hey, I need to just have my regular 2 days off a week. I'm a little burnt out, I'm tired. And her response to me was, well, you're getting all this overtime. And I went back to her, I responded to her like, but I don't have any fucking time to spend it. You know what I mean? Money isn't everything, man. Like, as the older I get, the more I understand money and materials and everything. Yeah, we need finances and money and stuff to do things in life, but you can't take none of that shit with you when you go. You know what I mean? Like, I can hit the Powerball today and die tomorrow, and I will never get to enjoy that money. But what I can enjoy while I'm here is the time that I have with my kids and my family and my loved ones and your friends. So I think it definitely starts there. I think about every time in my life where I was like really unhappy, for the most part, a job played a role in that. Like, I had a job that was just killing me or burning me out, or I really started to hate. And for me, just me personally, whenever I'm in a place and something that I don't want to do, I kind of shut down. Job, anything, relationship, I really just like I'm showing up, but I'm not putting any energy or effort into doing the task. So I would definitely say it's start looking at your jobs and seeing what kind of job you have. Because now I have a job that I love going to. I actually wrote that down in my note. A job you hate will kill and destroy your energy. And if you're fortunate enough to find a job you can love and enjoy, like that's really what you ideally what you want. And like I go to work, man, I can work as many hours as I want, and I can work as little hours as I want. It's kind of up to me. So having that flexibility and ability to spend time with my kids, or go to the gym, or just being here while the kids are at school or whatever, and lay around and watch fucking Sports Center like that, all that's all part of it. So for me, again, like having a job that I love has really done wonders for me. And if you know me, you know the jobs that I've had and where I've worked at. I had a job where I was driving like an hour and some change every day to work, to a place that I fucking hated. Like I took the job for the money. They paid me a lot more than what I was making in my previous job, but I really hated the job, like really hated it. And I remember when I got fired from the job, it was like, we'll get into that one day, but it was like I was not upset. I like had a smile on my face. I shout out to her because it's my boss. She was a hater, but let's not get into that. Men also, like we don't talk about stuff enough. You know what I mean? We really like internalize stuff, things that we're going through. Anything you could be stressed about, whatever, and you can have a death. Anything, we keep it to ourselves because it's really hard to open up sometimes. And like I know for me, again, I came up around like a lot of like strong Southern black men. All my uncles were from the South. They're strong, and they had a father that went to work every day, and he was just like, he was a man. So they were like putting it on me. Again, I was raised by women, but I had my uncles around on a daily basis. We all lived in the same house. So obviously being raised by women and then having men that's teaching you to be strong is a little bit of confusion, but I was always taught like it was not cool to cry. It was not cool to, be girly or to be like sensitive. They would always assume, just think like you were weak or, whatever. And I know I'm not the only one that has happened to. That happens to, I have friends that went through similar situations. So when we were getting older, becoming teenagers, and we're becoming young adults and young men, and then ultimately men, like that's a lot to process, because if no one has ever told you it's okay to cry or okay to feel like you need help, you don't know how to seek that, and you don't know. You're always worried about how someone's going to react when they see you doing it. So naturally, you're going to shut down. And I've done it before. Oh, mosquito. I've done it before. Like I said, often it may open up as perceived as weak. And that, again, as an adult, I can tell you firsthand, has made it hard to be like vulnerable with somebody, whether it's a girlfriend or someone that you're getting close to, and you have all these secrets and things that like are on your mind and you want to share with them, but you're not sure how they're going to react, because like, were you brought up the same way I was? Has someone taught you that it's not okay for a man to be quote unquote like open, or that he's weak for that? So it's really, trust and fear. The fear of judgment is the main reason why men tend to internalize this stuff. And, I've been in situations, let's go back to the relationship part, like where I've dated someone and you tell them like a secret or something that's happened to you or something that you've been through, and you guys break up. It's on social media, or she's telling someone about it. You know what I mean? It's like one of my deepest, darkest secrets, and I told you because I trusted you with this information. And now, you know what happens with that? That creates trauma. Now, with the next person I date, I'm like a closed book. I'm not trying to be as open. Not even understanding that I was already healing from one thing. Now I got to heal from this. And again, it's like a snowball effect. And it's really fucked up. And men do it too. But it's never okay to like weaponize information that someone's giving you about them that they've been through, and then use it against them when things don't work out. I think that's fucking corny. Like, that is. And in my younger years, I'm guilty of doing that when I was immature and I just didn't understand life. Yeah, I've done it too, but and I was wrong for it. But at my good age of, I'm in my 30s, my late 30s now. I understand that you can't do that. You just can't. You can't use like things that people have gone through against them. If anything, you should be trying to like help them and help them get through it, help build them up. And if you're not going to do that, then get the fuck away from them. I would also say find a therapist or some level of therapy. Jay-Z had this great line of what you reveal, you heal. So I think it's really important to like for me, my level with my therapy is the gym. I've done therapy a few times, like a long time ago, probably like over 10 years ago. But for me, like I just think like a daily balance of things that make you happy or can also be therapy. Like I love working out, and I always tell people that like I can't be the best version of me for anybody else if I don't take care of me first. I can't be a good dad, a good brother, a good son, a good uncle, a good neighbor, a good worker if like I'm not taking care of me first. So I have to, when I wake up, I really do. The first thing I do is make sure that I'm okay, take a shower, whatever it is, pray, whatever it is that I need to do. Get my breakfast, a shake, take my vitamins, like really just, and then figure out what I'm doing today. And then I get to getting my kids up or getting Jordan up for school, and because she's a teenager, she does her own thing. But yeah, then I get to my day, drop her off, then I get to the gym. I always feel like if I don't go to the gym, like where there's days where, now if I choose not to go to the gym, it's different, but if there are days where things are preventing me from going to the gym, I'm really like in a space where, oh man, like I need to go work out, and that's like it'll really be like a mind fuck, and I'm like trying to find ways to get to the gym and trying to check things off my list that I have to do. But for me, it really is the gym. It's the gym and my kids, and because again, like my kids are like the greatest thing in the world. You know what I mean? Coming home and just being around Jordan, even though she cooks me, she burns me out, man. Jordan ain't Emma, but Jordan's here every day, so, but she cooks me, bro. Like, I mean, I really feel like, I want to get too far off topic. Parenting, when I was younger, I was like in my 20s with 3 kids, and I had all the energy in the world, and now I'm in my 30s, and this one kid is cooking me daily. I'm talking about, it's not even like I'm with her all day long because she goes to pre-K or camp right now, and I'll pick her up and I'll get her from work at like 7 or 8, and because Gabby will get her for me, and we'll be here for like an hour and a half, and I'm like pooped. I'm like, Jordan, like you not ready for bed, you don't want to lay down and watch a movie. She wants to just run around and jump on me and abuse me and beat me up. But yeah, don't have kids over 30, guys, don't do it. But yeah, back to what I was saying. Yeah, just the gym and finding some space where you can really just like woosah. I think that's really important. Something else I do to protect my mental health, like, because I'm all about like protecting my energy, protecting my peace. I know when to distance myself from people, and unfortunately, I've had to do that over the last couple of years because I just feel like anything that compromises my peace, I'm not doing it, because like, especially when people like 9 times out of 10, people know when they're doing some shit that makes you uncomfortable or they're mistreating you. We're adults. Like, if you're doing some fuck shit. So, like I said, anything that compromises my peace or my mental health is not worth my time. Some of the hardest things I've ever had to do was just eliminate friendships. You know what I mean? I really had to, because when I feel like you're not being considerate of my feelings or you're saying things to me that's like really disrespectful, before I get disrespectful, I'm going to remove myself. And I'm talking about people that like lifelong friends, or people, friendships over 10 years, stuff like that. I've recently had I had a really good friend that we were like super close, that lived up in New York. And we were we were really cool for a long time. And then like life happens, and we went our separate ways or whatever. Like, she had kids and, had a new life. But it was like really like one of my best friends. And we reconnected and we were hanging out, and then just like out the blue, like she just changed, started being like really disrespectful. And I don't let nobody, like, again, I don't think I'm the greatest dad ever, but she was saying things to me about me as a father, and I was just like, like I had to like check her, and then I had to just really fall back and let her know. I told her about herself and had to fall back because one thing I'm not gonna do, and it's just I don't want to seem like malicious but there's nothing you can tell me about being a father when your kids don't have an active father. You know what I'm saying? You can't. You don't even have the right. You know what I'm saying? I really don't care if it offends anyone, but I feel like you should be more focused on your situation. But two, I know what I do for my family, and I know what I do for mine. So, like, that's a line that I won't allow anybody to cross, and I'm not going to allow anybody to disrespect me in that fashion. So, yeah, I just had to remove her. Like, you know what I mean? Last time I saw her, I just wrote everything down. This is the issues, and then went my separate ways. Like, I don't want to have any contact with you until you understand, like you're not being a good friend. Because again, it was really, it was disturbing to me. So I think, and it doesn't mean that friendships can't come back, but sometimes you need to spend time away from people. I've done that too. Sometimes you just gotta be like, you know what? And I identified that like you guys are going this way, and I'm kind of going this way. You know what I mean? And it doesn't mean we can't meet back up somewhere, but right now, like, we're just not good for each other. And again, if that thing is like they're doing things or being inconsiderate of your feelings, I just feel like you have to distance yourself from people like that. And I'm pretty sure I've done things that rub people the wrong way, and they were just like, I'm not going to fuck around. And that's okay. That's your right. Because I would absolutely do the same thing. I want to say addressing mental health, it doesn't make you weak. You know, people think that, again, like, he's weak because he said he needs therapy. You know what I mean? I see dudes now, I see women online that, oh man, they cry. Like, I remember when Jay-Z came out, like, the strongest thing a man could do is cry. People were clowning him, and I'm just like, your mom died, you're not gonna cry? Your dad died, you're not gonna cry? Your kid died, unfortunately, before you, you're not gonna cry? Fuck out of here. Like, it's just, some people, like, and again, like, you don't always have to be super tough. You just don't have to be, you know. You have to take care of you first. Take breaks when you can. Take breaks when you're necessary. So I was looking something up. I was looking at like suicide and stuff like that. So I looked up suicide and men under 45 years and younger. The second leading cause of death for men 45, the age of 45 and under, was suicide. Number first was accidents. That could probably be like car accidents, hiking accidents, mountain, whatever, rock climbing, whatever that you're ever into. That kind of stuff makes sense because those are like freakish things. But like for suicide to be the second leading cause of men under 45, and then I also looked at men 35 and under. It was the suicide was the leading cause. So I got more stats, but just check on people. I think, and I've gotten really good at that. Like, I'll just text people. Like, I know they're like, I had a friend who lost his father. So like, even though we talk regularly, every now and again I'll ask him like, hey, are you okay? You know what I mean? I just think like you have to do those things because sometimes I just think about the times where I weren't okay and nobody was texting me, nobody was checking out, or like I was going through shit and nobody knew about it because I wasn't comfortable enough yet to speak on it, and people were texting me and asking me for favors or asking me to do shit, and I'm just like, I would really feel like, damn, but nobody's asking about me, you know what I mean? And just check on your people, man, especially your people that are going through things, your relatives that are losing their loved ones. Again, I had my cousins lost their, like I said on another episode, my cousins had lost their dad back in February. So like now I've been texting them, you know, just periodically, hey, how you doing? Whatever. Tell people you love them. Like it will go such a long way. You have no idea, like for someone that's probably thinking about taking their life or worse or that, you know, whatever, their family's life, let them know that they're loved. You know, words can really like make or break people. And it takes 2 seconds, man, to send a text message, not a phone call, just a text message. Something else I saw, it said men are, and this actual study was done in the UK. So the second leading cause with men of 45, it was US, but this other study I put it was in the UK, only because I feel like Americans aren't, like, we're not as honest as we should be, and I feel like UK gave me more statistics. And you'll see on the page, I'm gonna post like all the graphs and everything that I screenshot that I found. But so men are more likely than women to smoke. Now, growing up, it's crazy. I would watch my grandmom or my uncles, everyone in my family that smoked. Every time they got stressed, they're going through cigarettes. So to me, naturally, just like from a visual standpoint, cigarettes equate to stress. And if men are more likely to smoke than women, it means men may or may not be more, you know, more stress, but that's probably what it is because stress was one of the things on the list of things that men said that they were experiencing. So just I don't know. I don't smoke. I smoked cigarettes for like a month. It was too expensive for me, and they stink. But I don't. People resort to other things when they're going to stress. They resort to drugs, weed, cocaine. Unfortunately, heroin, alcohol. There's a number of things that people turn to when they're stressed or going through things. Some people, especially younger people, and definitely I would say young women, and I don't have the numbers, but I'm just going off of what I've seen, like in high school and stuff like that. And because most of the people I went to high school with, like I grew older with them, they resort to like sex. So something could be going on at home, and they're like stressed out about whatever. Someone could be touching them, whatever's going on, and they're resorting to that because that's like their escape to feel better. Remember, when you're feeling pain, you're just looking for a way out. You're looking to feel good, no matter how long that is. So whether it's sex, weed, drugs, alcohol, whatever it is, you're just looking for a release. So, and then once you get that release, like you get that high, then you're like cool for a second. But then when you come back to reality, obviously you got to deal with it. But just be aware, man. Again, like I said, it takes 2 seconds to text somebody to reach out. One of the biggest mental health issues with men was depression. I've experienced depression. It's not fun. I know people experience depression. I remember to speak a little bit about death. So I'm pretty sure I'm jumping around, but I have that. I'm pretty sure at the end of my notes, but I'm gonna talk about it now. I remember I was like, Gabby is 16. So a good friend of mine is pretty much my brother. He's like a brother. He was a brother, but not by blood. Jamar, I remember when he got killed, and like I was at work, and I remember my boy Irv called me, and I go in the office. I got like 6 missed calls from like him and all these other people. So I call him back. He's like, "Yo, man, Jamar got killed." And I'm just like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, he got shot," and it wasn't registering. And I was just like, I remember, like, cause he would always get shot. So, like, it was more like again, and then like when he's dead, it just was like it threw my world upside down because this is like I was 19 or 20. It's like the first time as I guess becoming a man or as an adult, I guess, that I really lost someone that I like was really close to. I went into like a deep state of depression, and then Gabby had just been born like I think 2 weeks or 3 weeks before his death. So it was so much going on, and I wasn't ready to process none of that shit. And it's just I remember Gabby's mom telling me, she like, "You just got ice cold, you was really distant, you wasn't like really talking." And it was because I was definitely depressed because my friend had passed, which then led to stress because you're just thinking about everything. You think about like this man has kids, he was doing things like coaching basketball teams and stuff like that. It was just so much. And again, like I was with him the day he got killed. I went to see him before I went to work because I was working in the neighborhood that he lived in. And it was crazy. And I think that was probably God was like giving me time to spend with him, my friend, before, he was gone. But yeah, so I would definitely say like depression is real, man. You can fall into depression while in relationships. I've been in some bad relationships where you do fall into a state of depression because of the person. It could be both ways. I've been in relationships, we both were like horrible people, and we both were causing each other stress and forcing each other into depression and stuff like that. But you just gotta like identify it and then get the fuck out of there. Because again, like all this stuff like kind of it just leads to suicide attempts, and like we're all too young to like not be here and not be enjoying life and not be raising our kids and just enjoying life, So there's been times where I've been depressed about my children. I do have that wrote down, and that's more about like trying to, and mostly with one of my children. My other kids, never really been any like custody issues or anything like that, or anything that wasn't easy to like beat. But I mean, if you know me, everyone knows like I have a daughter that I didn't see for a really long time because of her mother, and she was angry because I didn't want to be with her and stuff like that. And by a really long time, I mean like years. So I had to like fight and fight and fight. And now, I see her and I get her. But I remember being I remember there was a period where like I was like stressed about it. Then there was a period where I just didn't give a fuck because like I was burnt out. And I'm not saying that's okay. Because I just talked about how you got to do everything you can do for your kids and to fight and get them. But then after I came out of that, I went back to like a stage of depression. Like I wanted to see my daughter and like I couldn't, she wouldn't allow it, you know what I mean? But once I educated myself on laws and things like that, I smoked that shit. And now my baby's with me and, we share the time or whatever, or I get her every other weekend. That's neither here or there. But yeah, I think you being like a man, we're responsible for the family. Like I'm the head of the household. I got to take care of all these people. I got to be the leader. That's a lot, especially if you're not prepared for it. I could solely speak off experience and me because I wasn't prepared for that. I didn't have a man teaching me how to be a leader and how to take care of a family or how to be a husband or be a good boyfriend or be a good father. I didn't have anyone teaching me that. So when you're like thrown into that, or that becomes your situation and you feel like you're failing, like you will find yourself in a space where you are stressed about it. And depending on what type of partner you have or whoever your girlfriend or wife is, that's either gonna help or hurt it. Because if you have someone who is lazy or they're not motivating you or they only speak about the things that you're not able to do, that makes you feel like shit as a man because you're telling me like I'm busting my ass and you're telling me I can't, like I'm not, what I'm doing still isn't good enough. You know what I'm saying? So it's, again, all that shit is really a mindfuck. And again, that goes into finances. And this is all from, where did I get this from? It's called a Priority Group, PRIORY group. I looked this up online earlier today, so all these things that I'm giving you is directly from them. It said finances, relationships, loss of a loved one, which I just spoke about, and anxiety. I remember for a while I had like anxiety where I couldn't do like large groups, and I don't know where it came from. I don't know. I still kind of don't know. Like it was just maybe like a period of time where I just wasn't outside, and I mean like probably like a 2-year stretch where I really wasn't going to visit people. I was just working, my kids. And then I remember like I had to go to like a birthday party for one of my kids, and there was so many people there, and I was just there like sweating and like I just wanted to get the fuck out of there, and I had to leave. Like I was just like I just couldn't be there. In a way, I got through that. Actually, I was in college at the time, which is weird. Everything kind of lined up. To probably be God, I had to take like a public speaking class, and like through that, for whatever reason, like once I finished that course, I was good. But for a while, I just couldn't be in large groups. It was so hard. Nobody. It's the first time I've ever even said anything like that. No one knows about that until now. I'm sorry. But yeah, finances. So if a man feels like he's not making enough money, I've seen it. I've experienced it. I didn't always have a great job, or I didn't always generate great money. Even now, I don't make a lot of money. Don't think I do. But like finances, when you are responsible for like so much as a man, as the leader, like that, and you can't do that, or you feel like you're failing, or you feel like you can't provide for the things that you're supposed to provide for, you feel like less of a man. And again, you're not taught how to handle these things, nobody. And then you don't feel like you can go on anybody because if I tell you, you're going to judge me. If I tell you, you're going to tell me you may or may not have a solution, or you know what I mean. So, which is why now when people come to me with like their problems and stuff, I try not to. I always try to have like a solution. I try not to beat people up about it, especially if I experience it. But even if I haven't, I know what that's like to tell someone something and like they just that's crazy, or they say some fucked up shit, and I don't got time for that. Also, in this study, it says 29% of men are too embarrassed to speak about their mental health issues. 29%. That number may seem low, but I got to look up the number of how many people they interview. But 29% is a lot. I don't care. I think more than 0 is a lot. You should be able to speak and talk about how you feel, what you're going through. Another 20% says there's a negative stigma about men, which was what I talked about before about men being weak. If you speak out and you got a mental health issue, a mental health crisis. I lost a cousin last year to suicide. I don't want to go into the details of how he took his life, but nobody knew what was going on with him. And it was really sad because, like, he was young. He was 19. He was a really good kid. He just graduated high school a year before. But he's in a house with like 8 people and nobody knew. You know what I'm saying? And I just think we get so caught up in like day to day, like just getting up and getting to it and doing routines that you just overlook certain stuff. Even myself, I gotta start asking my kids. Like, we talk, but I gotta specifically probably start asking, like, hey, Gabby, how's your mental health? How's your mental health? And just, like, get straight to it because, again, they're pretty comfortable about speaking to me about stuff, but I think more so with kids, you gotta be like pretty direct, especially with high school and stuff like that. I remember what high school was like for me, and kids can be fucking mean. A lot of kids experience mental health issues. As a parent, I've experienced stuff with my children, so you just have this thing, again, talking and speaking out and being super aware and super honest about what you're going through, and especially with your kids, just checking in on them, making sure that they're okay. One thing I can say to your mom does a great job. She checks their phones, which is great. That's not something that I want to do. Just as a dad, God forbid, knock on wood, God forbid they are doing something in the business, it's better for their mom to see it versus me. But yeah, my advice is just never react or make any decisions based off emotion. Try to think as rationally as you possibly can, and most importantly, heal. I think we're all still. I think healing is not like it's not an overnight or a 1 month thing or a 2 month thing. I think healing is like a really long term thing. I think we're all still healing from things. Things we've been through relationships, traumas of the past. Even now, like I don't really date anybody because I probably have the word like relationship it makes me cringe. It makes me really uncomfortable, which tells me like I have some things to work out. I have some things to heal from. So I think, and that's like for me how I identify if there's something that I can't do or like I have an issue with something. It's when the thought of doing it like really just makes me like you know what I mean, like super uncomfortable. You start to sweat. You start to not be okay with the idea of doing it. So like why just let's all be together. And it's okay to not be okay. You know what I mean? Again, men, it's okay to not be okay. If you have an issue, again, please speak out about it, identify with it, reach out to someone, because life is so precious and it's quick and it's short. And, it seems like more and more, like there's more young people dying from many things. I live in Philly, so, here's the big thing is gun violence, but there's definitely more and more people. I was looking at between 2008 and 2021, the suicide rate for men went up 1%. And even though that's only 1%, this is in the United States. 1% of, I think the United States has like 200 million people or something like that. 1% of 200 million, that's a lot. If my math is correct, that would be 2 million, I think. Don't quote me on that, but that's a lot of people, to be taking their lives and to just be saying, fuck this, I don't want to do this anymore. You know what I mean? And people say that is, when people that commit suicide, say, oh, he was weak. I'm sorry. And I'm not trying to like boost anybody up that had tried suicide or committed suicide. I think that's the strongest thing you can do is to take your own life. I think that's the strongest. Like you have to really, one, feel like there's no other resort, but two, to sit there, especially people that are like shooting themselves, stuff like that. We're not talking about like pills or anything like that, but to like put a gun to your head or to jump off a building or anything like that, like you have to really, like, one, being probably in a space where you're so far gone, but two, that takes a lot of strength. I had written down my daily routine, but I spoke about that I would say I believe good physical health as it pertains to gym is absolutely a part of your mental health. I think again, just if something you have like a hobby, like that's my hobby. So I know like I have a brother, his hobby is fishing, and I could tell like that, that's his safe space, no pun intended. But I can tell he's always fishing. He's like every time he gets that's his time to go out there and just think and to like be in an area where he doesn't have to be bothering anybody. He doesn't have to worry about his phone. He doesn't got to check his phone. He can just fish and breathe. You know what I'm saying? And my thing I used to do, I used to go to the movies in the daytime. I think going to the movies in the daytime by yourself is one of like the most relaxing things to do. There's nobody in there but like two other people. You got the whole theater to yourself, and you can just relax. No kids, no nothing. I ain't no Jordan got to go to the bathroom. None of that. Just relaxing because the kids are in school. They're safe. So you just find your safe space. Find what it is that you can do to start your day to have a good day, and then have good days and good weeks and everything going forward. Again, no such thing as perfect. Identifying that you have an issue does not make you weak; it makes you strong. It's a really big step. And just to go back, because I know I skipped around, but I have wrote down in my notes when talking about death. So when you lose people through death, just take all the time you need. Understand whatever job you have, that job is going to fucking be there. And if it won't be, another one will be. I had to learn, because when you work in these jobs, for one, nobody likes to keep jumping from job to job, but you get comfortable at a job and you really like the job and you love the job or whatever, but you don't want to lose the job. Most people don't want to start over. So, but just understand that job going to be there. If that job, again, another job can call, you got a hell of a resume. By now, all of us in our 30s, we got enough experience and we don't have enough jobs and we can do so many different things. Most of us can make money on our own, work with our hands, which is something that I did over the pandemic. I learned how to do everything from floors to electricity, plumbing, carpentry. So now I have a skill. But yeah, also the brain is not designed to understand sudden death or passes. I tell people that all the time, like when people die and it's unexpected. I had to tell my brother that when we was down there in March for his wife when she passed. And I still check on him now, I go text, but I know it's gonna take him a while to go through it, because like you wasn't expecting that. She like legitimately was regular like I am today, and then I think caught like COVID or pneumonia or something like that, and then like a week later was gone. I think COVID tested a lot of people's strength and mental health. I saw a lot of people lose their loved ones. My sitter, her husband died during COVID, and again, it was like a 14-day process where like he was in the house with us. I'm dropping my daughter off, and then like I come the next week, he's in the hospital, and then I come the next week, and they're like, we're getting ready for a funeral. And it's like, what? And again, like mentally, the brain is just not designed to accept it, because we think naturally that a person's supposed to die when they're like old, like 80, 90 years old. But when someone's perfectly healthy and they take it from us, it's really hard. Going back to my friend Jamar, like he was murdered, he got shot, but it was not expected. You know what I mean? It just came out of nowhere. And again, I think that's probably like what I see a lot of people that are end up depressed. That's like, it's from that. It's when something is taken from them suddenly and they don't know what the fuck to do. And like I said, talk to someone, journal, write shit down. Journaling is a really good way to release it. If you don't feel like you can tell someone, write all that shit down. Put it on your laptop, put it in your notes, write it down. That way you have like, it's a release. So you have to find your release. You have to find your safe space, and hopefully, I hope and pray that no one that watching is experiencing anything like this. But if you are, again, reach out to someone, talk to someone, reach out to me. I'm not a expert of anything. I don't have a degree in anything medical. I've just experienced life. And anything I say on here or in general is just based solely off experience, unless it's something that I research. Who do I have to plug today? I'm going to plug Shakira. So Shakira, I don't know. So I don't know her like personally. I could say we know each other on social media. We had dialogue about. She was actually one of the first people I told I was going to start a podcast. And I ran some ideas past her. Because I've read one of her books. I have 3 of her books. I need to read the other 2. Please don't kill me. But she's an author. She has her own podcast. She does poetry. And she's like a really good person. She's a mom. So you can reach her at I Don't Care. That's at IDNT underscore KIR. She's the author of Secret Revenge 1 and 2, which I have behind me. Right there. Yeah, that's 2. I don't know where 1 is. 1 is somewhere over here. And then also she's the author of I Know You Can't Speak. I Know You Can't Speak. That book was amazing. She's a really good writer, like a really good writer. I mean, when I was reading it, like I felt everything. I don't want to give any parts of the book away, but go buy a book. Follow her on Instagram. Follow her pages. She's also the host of a podcast called 12 Years Later. It's a really good podcast. It's really for women, but I tell her all the time, like a lot of the shit she be talking about, I was like, I can relate to that because I was a parent. I was a single parent. I've raised a baby by myself. Like a lot of the things that you're experiencing, I've done. And the point of the 12 Years Later podcast, she basically had kids 12 years apart. She now has a son, a young son, and she has, I believe, a 14-year-old daughter who's about to start high school, I believe. I think my facts are right. But yeah, she's an outstanding person. And I'm so thankful that like when I run ideas past her, I send her stuff, like she gives me dialogue. And, you know, we talk about, you know, we just trade stuff. I ran actually my photo for the podcast. I was like trying to find a photo, and she was like, "Why are you? What's that?" I had like a picture of like a bunch of guys sitting around on the couch. She's like, "What is that?" She's like, "What is that for?" She's like, "Your podcast is called A Safe Space for Men." So like, what is like? How does it? And I was saying, "Well, it's guys sitting around talking." She was like, "Nah." And I showed her the picture I have now. She's like, because that was like my backup picture, the one that I have now. And she was like, "That's a better picture." And she kind of like gave me the confidence to go forth with it. And now I look at it like, because the picture on the profile is me. That's a picture of me before I had dreads, obviously. I was at the beach. It's like me looking at the sunset. And because I really love the beach, I love water. So it's like, that's like one of my safe spaces also. She's like, "Yeah, go with that." And then like I did the design, I sent it to her. And like, so she kind of like hyped me up, got me feeling good about it. But yeah, follow her. Follow her on, Instagram again. Her other Instagram page is 12 Years Later. It's 12.years.later on IG. Buy a book, buy some poetry books, follow her, support her. She's outstanding. Thank y'all for listening. I really appreciate y'all time. I ran way over the time I wanted to do today. But hopefully I enjoyed this episode. Hopefully I put some information out there that can be helpful to somebody. And hopefully the air conditioner wasn't too loud. Thank you. Have a good day. Peace.